So we're several months into 2026, and how's that resolution coming along? Are you still trying to get started? Or are you kind of stuck and a little embarrassed and you're wondering if you should just give up? Don't do that. I've been there before. And so today I want to talk about the biggest thing that stops people from actually achieving their goals, which is fear of failure. In fact, let me show you something. These are all my almost starts. All these videos were begun but never finished. And I know it looks funny, but when I think about all the hours spent in front of the blank page or in front of the camera trying to figure out how to say something, it feels like a total waste. And if you're anything like me, I bet you have plenty of almost starts too. Maybe it's in a spreadsheet somewhere, or maybe it's just rattling around in your brain. And if you don't even know what the word almost means because you haven't had any failures yet, I'd say just wait. You will get there soon enough. Almost starts are the universal language of failure. They're the painful residue of trying and not quite making it. They're the echo of dreams that didn't come true. And if you think about it, it makes sense that we would avoid them at all costs. Because every almost start is another crack in our fragile idea of ourselves. Like if I keep failing over and over again, how long until I stop believing in myself entirely? So I get it. But I also know that almost starts are a cost of doing business. When you try new things, some of them are going to work and some of them are not. That's just how growth works. And if we're trying to do something that no one has done before, then we're going to have a lot of failures along the way. The problem is when the fear of almost starts gets so bad that we never try in the first place. So, what is that real cost? Well, I'd say it's time. Every moment spent fantasizing about success or procrastinating or planning is a moment taken away from actually doing the thing. For example, if I wanted to become a writer, but I was too afraid of being rejected by an agent, then the cost would be the dream of being a published author. Instead of becoming a reality, it would simply become a regret. And if you can relate, then please understand that you're not alone here. This is something I've been struggling with for a long time. It's actually pretty hard to find reliable data on this. But according to Google Trends, searches for 2026 reset is already higher than it has ever been. And as we enter the new year, more and more people are searching for ways to reset. There's just so much pressure to get our lives together. And don't get me wrong, I love goal setting. I love writing down a bunch of ideas and having this feeling of possibilities. But what good is a list of goals if we never actually achieve them? So in this video, I want to offer you a different perspective on the problem of failure. And I'm going to give you 5 alternative frameworks to approach this problem. And yes, I'll be putting these to the test myself. I'll be doing a 7-day microbet challenge starting soon. If you are truly committed to conquering failure in 2026, then definitely consider subscribing because later next month, I'm planning to release a full step-by-step guide on how to set goals for 2026, and hopefully the subscription will help you on that journey. Alright, so back to the video. Let's dive into the 5 solutions, starting with solution 1, which is to do a fear audit. I asked you to do something called fear setting. The exercise is really simple. Write down the goal you're afraid of. Then ask yourself 3 questions. What would prevent me from achieving this goal? What would I need to do to achieve this goal? And finally, what would I do if I failed to achieve this goal? And then you simply write down the answers. Doing this exercise helps you turn your fears into actionable items instead of keeping them floating around in your head. So now you have a concrete path forward rather than a vague sense of dread. Solution number 2 is to take So what is a microbet? It's basically taking a big, audacious goal like this and breaking it down into smaller bets. So instead of saying, I want to become a full-time creator, I'll say, I want to publish 1 YouTube video per week for the next 6 months. Now each week I'm only committing to 1 video, and each video is its own 2-way door decision. If it doesn't go well, I can pivot the next week. And that's the whole point. With microbets, you're trying multiple things to find what works, rather than betting everything on one single Hail Mary. And as a bonus, you might even find that once you start getting momentum, you don't want to stop. For example, last year I started this channel as a side project, but it quickly became my full-time job. And although I'm happy where I am now, I wouldn't have been able to get here if I didn't start small. I could have said, okay, I'm gonna quit my job and then live off my savings and make YouTube videos all day. But instead, I kept my full-time job for the entire first year. And I treated this channel as an experiment, and that allowed me to fail a lot and learn very quickly without risking everything. Okay, solution number 3 is to follow an anti-fragile calendar. This is one of the most powerful productivity tools that I have discovered in the past year. And if you're unfamiliar, the premise is simple. You're either working on a process goal or an outcome goal. So a process goal is something that you control, like publishing one video every week. And an outcome goal is something that you don't control, like growing your following by 10%. When you complete a process goal, you color the box green, and if you miss it, you color the box red. What's really cool about this is that you're able to track both successes and failures. And if you look closely, you'll notice that even successful people have a lot of failures. So it normalizes the process of learning and making mistakes. Tim Harford, the author of the book The Anti-Fragile, argues that we should leverage randomness and uncertainty in our favor, especially when we're dealing with complex systems like our careers or creative projects. He calls this the anti-fragile principle, which means that some things benefit from disorder, volatility, and mistakes. This is why the anti-fragile calendar is so effective. It forces you to move forward every day, and it doesn't matter whether you move forward by 1 step or by 10 steps. Every day brings you closer to your goal, so no matter what happens, you can check off one box and move forward. Also, there's this really cool website called No 0 Days, which is based on the anti-fragile calendar. If you sign up, you'll receive a free anti-fragile calendar, and every day you'll receive a notification asking you to check in and see how many boxes you can check off. And if you want to learn more about the anti-fragile principle, I highly recommend the book Anti-Fragile by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Solution 4 is to do public rehearsal. Okay, so I recently learned that Elon Musk never gives interviews unless he's rehearsed beforehand. And it makes sense because the best athletes train for years before they compete in the Olympics. But we often forget that giving a presentation or talking to someone new is kind of like competing in the Olympics. It takes practice and preparation. And the best part is, you don't have to do it alone. You can invite others to participate in your practice sessions, and by practicing in public, you're able to get low-stakes reps and feedback early on. So you're not caught off guard by the unexpected, and the added accountability helps you stay on track. And yeah, I totally recognize the irony of me telling you to rehearse in public when I have social anxiety. But I've done it before, and it does work. For example, last year I joined Toastmasters, and I practiced public speaking, and I gave talks in front of a live audience. And the reason why I decided to share this personal experience with you is because I know it can be scary, but it's also a great opportunity to improve and grow. So if you want to give it a shot, there's a program called the 2 Tries Rule, which is basically committing to trying 2 new things that scare you. So for me, that could be joining a Toastmasters club or signing up for a class at a community college. And as long as you try it twice, you can quit afterwards if it doesn't feel right. And the last solution is to create an identity habit with a failure budget. This is an idea that comes from Cal Newport's book, Digital Minimalism. The concept is that if you want to create a new habit, then instead of focusing on the specific behavior, you should focus on who you want to become. For example, instead of saying I want to read more books, you can say I want to become a reader. This way you're able to tap into the power of your identity and commit to it. So here's how you can apply this to failure. Create an identity that you admire, and then set a weekly failure quota. For me, that could be I want to become the type of person who publishes 1 video every week. Now, if I miss 1 week, then I'm still okay because I've built in a buffer. And the reason why this is so helpful is because it helps you separate your self-worth from your performance. And it also helps you forgive yourself for failing because you're not seeing every missed day as a personal defect. It's just another piece of data that tells you that your identity is not fully formed yet. And it's perfectly okay to make mistakes while you're still figuring it out. So those are the 5 solutions that will hopefully help you stop procrastinating and start making progress towards your goals. And remember, it's okay to fail. It's just important that you learn from it and keep moving forward. As always, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, let us know in the comments below. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing content. Your support means everything to us. Stay awesome, and see you later.